That's the greatest theme ever. Oh, yes! And welcome in episode 6 already, guys. What is it, day 15 of quarantine? Episode 6. I got my Michigan Army shirt on. We've got the birthday boy, Dave Rieger. I'm Dan Leach. Stets is back. We missed you. McKenny Kell, Admiral Job is our special guest. The other show, I don't think it gets any better than Real American. It's one of the great theme songs for anybody in any sport ever. Before we get into a great show we have for people, get involved in the chat room. Taylor Phillips is already there. So are the Porchos. They wish you a happy birthday, Dave. 35? Is that who you are? 35. Stats, I think you just shaved your head. You look great. Any special birthday messages for Dave Rieger today? I heard you made him a quarantine cake. What entails a quarantine cake? Is it surrounded by gloves and surrounded? It always is. I remember the song, but I don't know the name. Remember, I've been into wrestling since like 85. Huge into it in 87. I can't remember the name. Stats, I did a lot of drugs. 9 years sober. There's 18 things I ask you today you don't know. What's the name of the song? Yeah, but this is the song that made him famous. How many wrestling fans remember I Am the Time? All right, well, there's a reason we're playing this. And just to set everything up, Dave brought up an amazing mafia movie the other day. So we're going to do the Task Force Top 3 in a bit. Our top 3 mafia movies. But it was 33 years ago from right now. It was Aretha Franklin, right? She sang God Bless America. I think Bob Uecker there? The world indoor attendance record. WrestleMania 3 at the Silverdome. I was not there. I wish I was. That's when I really got into wrestling. 92 plus thousand. All the amazing matches. Stats, we'll get to you in a second because you are a big wrestling guy. Not that Dave isn't. But Dave, you're a little older than me. Happy birthday, by the way. You look great. What do you remember? Because I was 10. You were closer to what, 15? 14? No, 87. 92. Where did 92 come from? So what do you remember about the event here? Obviously, we knew it was a huge deal. It was all over the news. The attendance record, all that stuff. What do you remember?
It was a big deal. I mean, obviously, Ford Field has had a WrestleMania too, but that Silverdome WrestleMania was giant.
Yeah, it's Stats, when you think about that event, because you're a little older than me as well, but you definitely are. I'll tell you this, I still love wrestling. I still watch stuff. I'll watch the 2-day WrestleMania, in a couple weeks, but I used to be obsessed. I had hundreds of hours on multiple VHS tapes that my dad eventually would tape over with St. Elsewhere and match reruns. I watched the Strike Force win the tag team title against the Hart Foundation for the first time ever live on one of those Saturday shows like Superstars of Wrestling. I went to a house show. I got an autograph from Hogan, but it's not the same. That was the glory days. What do you remember about that era in WrestleMania 3 as you were living in New York then?
I had the first WrestleMania when I was, God, how old was I? 8 or 9. I remember we were one of the first people on my block to have cable and a VCR and all that stuff. My dad was always first on getting technology, but cable came to my neighborhood, being able to widespread throughout our neighborhood, the summer of '84. So I barely came out, which is what led to me becoming a Husky kid. But so I was a huge wrestling guy. I watched Superstars of Wrestling. I watched Primetime Wrestling on USA, which came on Monday nights at 8 o'clock. They used to have the animation graphics with the bus and the whole thing. There's the intros and stuff are still on YouTube. So I was huge for all the WrestleManias. They were like gigantic. So, but I remember the Hogan and Giant lead up was crazy, and because Andre was a good guy, and I was, of course, always rooting for the baby faces and the heroes at that time.
So was I.
It wasn't until I was like 10 or 11 where I started, going heel and rooting for,
Yeah, you are.
But yeah, I remember it was such a huge event, and the fact that they packed in, I think it was 90 or 95,000 people.
92 plus thousand. It was a world indoor attendance record. I believe in this country, I don't think it actually doesn't stand anymore, but it stood around the world for at least 20 years, something like that.
And yeah, and they had the mini rings that they valeted the wrestlers to the ring because they had so much area to cover to get them down there. Otherwise, it would have taken like 10 minutes for each person to get down to the ring. I mean, it was, but seeing Hogan and Andre and the crowd, just the sea of people around the ring, it's an iconic image of wrestling history for sure.
Well, and I'll tell you this, and Dave, it's one of these things where, that event, the Silverdome, I miss it so much. I love Tiger Stadium. I love Michigan Stadium. I love the Palace. I mean, we've had great arenas, but the Silverdome, for whatever reason, probably because I love the Lions so much, but all the experiences with my grandfather and my dad and my grandma, and just that building was the best. To know that we had that record and how loud it was, and that probably the biggest match in wrestling history at that point, because that, just a little quick wrestling history, Stets, you might know this, they were all regional before the early 80s. Andre the Giant was big in places, Ric Flair was big in the South, but then when the WWF was bought by Vince McMahon's father and they started becoming a TV brand, they brought them all together. So that was the biggest event, history of the sport, still one of the biggest events in the history of the sport. And I missed the Silverdome, Dave. That was such a special building. And what is your favorite Silverdome memory, by the way, Dave?
I saw my first concert ever at the Silverdome, which was the Rolling Stones, the Steel Wheels tour. And so I remember that from the Silverdome. A lot of Lions games, a lot of Pistons games that they used to play at the Silverdome. And we used to sit like way up high, and so the Silverdome was a pretty cool place for its time.
It definitely was, and that's back to the wrestling itself, because obviously you and I are big wrestling guys, and I know, Dave, you've liked it in the past, so I don't want to belittle you. By the way, Mud's in the chat. We have people involved tonight. We love it. Ask any questions you want on the live chat. Stets, I want to ask you the same thing to Dave. Greatest match you've ever seen. If it was in WrestleMania 3, great. I'll start. The greatest match I ever saw was at WrestleMania 3, and it was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Macho Man Savage. I think it was 31 minutes, multiple bell ringing off the top rope. It was a payback match. I loved Steamboat. To me, and I watched that live, I will never forget crying, because I was a huge Steamboat guy. And I loved his theme song, too. I remember crying like he was after that match was over. George the Animal Steel, who actually was a school teacher here in Detroit, became a wrestler, used to eat the turnbuckle and had like green in his mouth. That match to me was the greatest. I mean, there's been a ton to pick from, but that was the greatest match I ever saw live. Stets, your thoughts?
That was WrestleMania 3. That was an amazing match. I mean, Ric Flair and Sting have had some amazing battles. There was one of the first tournament style pay-per-views before WrestleMania 4.
Tournament or tournament?
Tournament, yeah. Tournament.
No, you said tournament. It's very New York.
Shut up, Leach. It was WWF tournament style I think it was right between WrestleMania 3 and 4.
It was WrestleMania.
It was called
Oh God.
It was called WWF Classic.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the tournament they had at WrestleMania 4 at Trump Plaza, by the way.
I remember this specifically because I wanted it on pay-per-view. My mom, who passed sadly back in 1988 when I was young, but my mom was like the Bill Parcells of parenting, where she like motivated me and like made me do stuff to like push me. So like if I didn't get a B on the next math test or something, she wouldn't order the pay-per-view. So she would like show me she would get the cable guide. She flipped to the page and be like, look, there's going to be a WWF pay-per-view, but I'm not going to order it unless you get a B on the math test next week.
That's
so I had
smart
to like
parenting.
Yeah, so I had to get motivated to get my math game up, and of course I got a B or an A or whatever. But anyways, during the tournament, the final match was Dynamite Kid, one half of the British Bulldogs, because they entered the tournament as two separate wrestlers.
Yep.
And Macho Man. It's an incredible match. Great talent. Both were skilled in the ring, skilled tacticians, if you will. And Dynamite Kid superplexes Macho Man off the top rope. So you think it's a wrap. He's going to get the pin. And Savage leans back, hooks the leg on the cradle and reverses and gets the pin after getting superplexed. It's up on YouTube or the WWE
Yeah, the network's
network.
the greatest thing, by the way. By the way,
oh, it's amazing.
Before I get to Dave's favorite wrestling match and wrestler, this is a very important thing if people don't know. Pornhub. Listen, we all got to take care of our things. Pornhub Premium. Free for everyone. It's the greatest thing ever. I might have spent several hours.
TMI.
No, I'm just saying it's. Listen, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't have a girlfriend right now. It is fantastic. All right, Dave, favorite wrestling match ever?
I mean, do you want me to give a thumbs up for free porn on the internet?
No. You're missing the point. It's not free porn. It's free premium porn. It's worth millions. Dave, favorite wrestler, favorite wrestling match. By the way, all-time favorite wrestler, Hulk Hogan. But I was very, very partial to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Warrior. What?
If we're back it up a second, I'm more of an X videos guy than porn.
X videos sucks.
If we're going
X videos sucks. Sometimes it's like the Hot Guys one is okay because there's no really good girls in that one, but it's not the greatest. All right, Dave's like, what?
About Hot Guys? What did this?
No, I like Hot Guys.
Yeah.
Let me explain.
What are you talking
There's
about?
a series called Hot Guys blank, and in those they normally have really hot girls. It's like a series. Plus, I like the babysitter one, and the stepmom and stepsister porn. That's great. All right, Dave, favorite wrestler? We're frisky on a Sunday. Nothing wrong with porn. It's healthy. Just make sure you're 18. Favorite wrestler, favorite wrestling match?
My favorite wrestler was Hulk Hogan, but as part of the NWO.
Of course.
Before, okay,
such an anti-hero.
All right, and because my favorite era of wrestling was the Monday Night Wars, WCW and WWE.
Very good era.
But my favorite match that I ever saw, which I did see live, was the Hell in the Cell Undertaker Mankind, where he threw Mankind off of the top of the cell into the Spanish announcers table, and as they were taking him out on the stretcher, he got out, came back, climbed to the top of the cell, and then Undertaker slammed him through the cell into the ring, and then he got slammed on tacks. It was incredible. I've never seen a match like that. It was nuts. And then at one point the top of the cell broke through, and Undertaker almost fell through himself. It was just a great match. It was the greatest match I ever saw.
Maybe you guys can help me with this. Another one I thought of that I actually hadn't seen because I was in boarding school when it happened, or I wasn't around. Was it Undertaker Shawn Michaels, or was it Shawn Michaels Bret Hart? Or do those both happen? Because I think it was Undertaker Shawn Michaels, right? It's widely considered one of the greatest WrestleMania matches ever. I think that's what it is, right, Stets?
I think so, because my history in the later years.
I think that's what it was. It was incredible. Incredible.
Well, wasn't Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart where Bret Hart thought he was going to win, and
that was the Montreal screw job. Yeah, that was a real. So if people don't know what that means, in wrestling we know it's predetermined. Sorry to ruin any kids watching. Spoiler alert. I used to think wrestling was real until I was 15. But that was Bret Hart, and they had a lot of issues with him. Vince McMahon did, and he was supposed to win that match and get his moment in the sun, and they actually. That was like a real life thing. He was supposed to win, and they have all these ways of talking through mics and earpieces and signals, and they whisper to each other on the side of the ring and stuff. He lost the match he wasn't supposed to. That was a legitimate screw job. But yeah, I think it was Undertaker Michaels was another one I watched recently that I didn't see live. Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing though, with the screw job, like. The thing in the wrestling business is you put somebody over on the way out the door.
Explain what that is. Explain what that is to me.
You don't get to go out a win. Like if you're going to leave the promotion or move on or do whatever, retire, like you put somebody over. You go out, somebody beats you for the title. That's just how it's always been. and Bret Hart did not want to drop the belt.
Right.
And he made a big fuss about it. So I guess the story goes that Vince McMahon told him, fine, I guess just playing head games because he was tired of dealing with it. So he told Bret that, you can go out. And then he told who pinned him. Who was it that pinned him?
I can't remember. I was at boarding school.
I thought it was Shawn Michaels.
No, Shawn Michaels won. But did someone pin him when he was? Or not, they didn't pin him. Someone knocked him out, I think. But it was
he got pinned.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels. Yeah, it was definitely Shawn Michaels.
Okay, so they told him differently. They went through it. So Bret was under the impression that he was gonna, get the belt. I mean, go out a winner. That's when he spit at Vince McMahon, right. And then some people think the whole thing was a word. So yeah, but normally under normal circumstances, under wrestling lore, you have to put somebody over on the way out. Like you lose the belt and like
but the Undertaker got his moment in the sun after at WrestleMania when he walked and laid his clothes down and walked for 25 minutes. You don't have. I get what you're saying, but
right, he also wasn't holding a belt.
Yeah, though. Bret Hart. The reason they didn't want to let him do that, or the reason that they wanted him to put Michaels over, was because he was leaving the promotion to go to WCW, possibly, or whatever it was. I think it was WCW.
Yeah, it was a submission. He had him in the reversal of the sharpshooter, and Vince McMahon had Hebner ring the bell. That's what it was.
Yep, and it was a screw job. By the way, one more thing before we get into the Bob movies. Actually, I want to do something before that. The WrestleMania 4 tournament, when Savage, turned from heel to face, and
Hogan with $1 Million Man.
Yes,
yeah.
And obviously Hogan and Giant wrestled, I think it was the quarters, and they could double disqualification. When Savage won that title, they played that, I'm forgetting the name of the song, the famous classical musical piece that is his theme.
Oh, Pomp and Circumstance.
Is that what it is? I thought it was called something else. But when they played that, I cried that time too. I watched that at my friend Mike Rosser's house, who actually, he's the reason he sent me the WrestleMania 3 thing earlier today, that it was 33 years from the day. The wrestling is awesome. And during a time like this, I know that some might say, why is WWE doing... That's not the song.
Hold on.
That's not it.
I will say that one of the more unique experiences...
Yes, that's it. That's it.
They also play this at everyone's graduation.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
I will say that one of the more unique experiences I had was covering the WrestleMania press conference at Ford Field.
You told me about
and
that.
The wrestlers stayed in character for the press conference.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of times they do that. No, but back to my point, when Savage won that title, it was, I'm telling you, man, that was, because I was all about the good guys, the faces, like you said, Stets. And Savage was such a, blank. And then to turn it around and Miss Elizabeth and all the leading up with the storylines, that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
What's
your favorite promo? I like Cream Rises to the Top when he's got the creamers.
Oh, dude, he was
Cream
one of the
rises
best.
to the top.
Yeah. Oh, man, I can't believe he's dead. I cannot believe he died at 56 or something. It's crazy.
Was Savage the one who got bit by Jake's snake? Jake the Snake?
A lot of people did.
That was cool.
Damien was a snake.
That was cool.
By the way, Mudd is asking, Stets, do you know who the wrestler is from Hazel Park? I mean, I know George Animal Steel is from here. Is that? I don't know if he was from Hazel Park or not. He might be talking about him. That was a fake.
Yeah, I don't know if he was from Hazel Park, but he definitely George Animal Steel. He was like a phys ed teacher or something.
Yes. I think it was like Garden City or something. Dennis Fithian's weighing in right now. I'm texting Dennis Fithian. So let's get into this. I think this is a funny thing. And Stets, I love your perspective because you're from New York, so you're not from here. So I'm very excited to hear what you have to say about this. But Dave, we'll start with you. I put up a post earlier today. I know Stets, I need an intervention because I post so much. I'm a fun guy. So
yeah, I mean, you might want to not post 60 times.
I'm the best. I'm the best. Everyone knows it. People have been thanking me for my positivity and all that stuff. I've got a little too political at times when I'm frustrated. So, Dave, I put this up earlier, and I said WrestleMania 33 years ago today. I thought all the threes together was interesting. But it's an event that everyone's like the first 10 responses on Twitter and Facebook. I was there. Now listen, 92,000+, that is a big, it's not like a 10,000 seat concert. Elton John plays a one-off secret show and everyone says they're there. But this, to me, is an event that everyone says they were at, but 30% of the people, 40% were actually there. Dave, what do you think the all-time event is of our lifetime that everyone says, it could be a concert or a sporting event, that they were there, but I think the honest truth is maybe half were there, maybe less.
There was a famous Tiger game during the regular season where Dave Bergman, rest in peace, he fouled off like 14 pitches in an at bat and then hit a home run to either put the Tigers in the lead or give them the win. I was there, and you talked to everybody, and they were at that game where Dave Bergman fouled off all these pitches and then hit a home run. I actually was at that game, sitting in the outfield at Old Tiger Stadium. But I hear a lot of people that say that they were at that game when you tell that story.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Wow.
For me, and like I said, I'm really excited to hear Stets. For me, there's a couple. I think JV's first no-hitter is everyone said they were JV's first no-hitter. But I think that it's the Notre Dame night game. The first, and Stets, you're an Irish guy, so you'll respect this. I want to say 2013, maybe 20, I forget the year right now. I was there. The first ever night game at Michigan Stadium just happened to be against one of their biggest rivals. They played Seven Nation Army the first time I'd heard it in a big stadium setting. I know they used to play it in Europe in soccer games for a while before that. But the electricity in that stadium, I wanted to tailgate starting at like 2 o'clock for an 8 o'clock game. I think I talked my dad into going at like 3. It was incredible. The energy. It was a beautiful night. The first night game. It was on ABC. And then, of course, Shoelace brings them back. This incredible comeback with seconds left. Roy Roundtree. Everyone says they were at that game. I mean, at least Michigan fans. I don't think that as many people were actually at that game as said they were there. Stets, what is it for you? Because you come from a different area. I wonder, is it a Knicks game? Is it a Giants game? What is it?
Well, we talked last time. Still that 05 Giants-Broncos game where Eli threw the game-winning touchdown to Amani Toomer with no time left on the clock. But I was in the bleachers in Yankee Stadium for Game 6 in 2004, where the Yankees lost to the Red Sox. Curt Schilling's bloody sock game. That's probably the most iconic sporting event that I've been to. Never been to any Super Bowls.
That also wasn't the question.
You said...
I said, what's the event? Dave answered the question.
I'm sorry. You mean the event that people lie about the most?
Yes! You want to keep running down the games you've been to. I could spend 5 hours doing that. What's the event as a New York guy?
Because you started talking about like it was this amazing thing and you threw me off.
Well, yeah, but I said that everyone said they were there. They weren't.
I don't know. That everyone was there.
I did tell you this in prep, by the way, but, who pays attention anymore?
Yeah, I was busy.
Busy making a salad. There's got to be some. All right, how about this? Maybe one of the Knicks-Pacers game, the Reggie Miller choke job game. What about that one? What about Giants-Patriot now? Because that wasn't that big of a game.
Usually people that are
There's
there
gotta
are
be
there.
Something. What about the UConn-Syracuse 6 overtime game in the Big East tournament? There's got to be something that all your friends say they were at and they weren't.
Yeah, no, I've never really encountered anyone where I've felt they were BSing.
All right. Well, then you're the only one in the country that feels that way.
I can share one more anecdote with you as far as missing out.
Well, really quick, Bud on the chat said this is a good one. Malice at the Palace. That's another one. Everyone says they were at. I was in Atlanta watching it live, but I definitely wasn't at the Palace. All right, what was that, Stets?
I was supposed to go to see Yankees. I think it was Yankees Expos. This was not 98 or 99.
David Cohn?
Yes.
I knew it.
And I got sick the night before. I ended up having tonsillitis. I had a 103 fever. I was supposed to go with my buddy Steve and another friend. I called him in the morning. I'm like, dude, my throat's closed up. I have a fever. I'm sweating. I was basically lying on the floor of my apartment I just moved into. I didn't even have a bed.
Stets, by the way.
And I had to watch on Fox David Cohn throw a perfect game that probably wouldn't have been perfect if I went to the game. But I was That one stung.
Two things.
That
One, if you got a fever, the only prescription is for more cowbell. And two, guess what? I was at the next David Cohn start with my best friend Michael Morrison in the bleachers. You know, Derek, Gina, you go around the horn and clap for everybody. He got destroyed. Nice. He got destroyed. I think he gave up 5 earned runs in 3 or 4 innings. But I was at the next start, and that was he had a friend, my friend Michael, had a friend that was at that Montreal Expos David Cohn perfect game. That must have been. At that point, I think it was the 17th ever. 6th, it was like 19th, whatever it was. All right.
All right, hold on. Bigger event at the Silverdome. WrestleMania 3 or Lions defeating.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna do that. The biggest football event ever was Lions Cowboys, but also Barry Sanders' 2,000 yard game. I was in that one too. But the biggest event ever, the Silverdome, was WrestleMania 3, aside from the Super Bowl. Super Bowl
much bigger than the Lions one.
Yeah, but the Super Bowl was the biggest.
There was a Super Bowl at the Silverdome too, though.
I just said that. I said the Super Bowl 16.
Also, I think the Pope visited the Silverdome too.
The Pope absolutely did, Dave Rieger. Look at this guy.
My parents saw the Pope John Paul II in 76 at Yankee Stadium. Year I was born.
I bless
you.
A World Cup.
There was multiple World Cup games.
There was a World Cup game there.
Multiple World Cup games.
Yeah.
I believe the Colombia game, when they scored the own goal, they ended up having Pablo Escobar kill the other Escobar, the goalie. I believe that was at the Silverdome, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so.
I don't know, but there was a lot. I know the Silverdome had some big moments.
I was at boarding school. All right, speaking of big moments, we've got a few more things to do here because then we have Dave's birthday poker tournament for play money coming up. We invited Stets, but he's very scared to play. Let's do this because Dave, you sent me a great I don't know, how did we get talking Donnie Brasco yesterday? You just start.
I was just watching it. You called me, and I was just happened to be watching it.
Yeah. So, and I've watched Donnie Brasco probably 150 times. I know Stets you have. It's a great mob.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. It's a forget. Forget about it. Sometimes it just means forget about it. Paul Giamatti, forget about it. So let's start with you, Dave Rieger. By the way, once again, happy birthday. I know we all wished it to you yesterday. You're one of the most special people that Stets and I know. You're an amazing human being. You're also an idiot when it comes to the Broncos. But without you in my life, I'd have a very empty place in my heart right here. I mean that. I know Stets feels the same way. So,
Leach,
yes.
Shut up.
All right, start.
Shut up. Forget about it.
Shut up. Forget about it. All right, Dave, we'll start with you.
Forget about
top 3. If you don't want to do them in order, it's fine. I've got mine in order. But top 3 greatest mafia movies. It's a tough task to answer, but let's do it.
I'll start with number 3. Number 3 would be Donnie Brasco, which I watched a little bit last night. Great movie. Number 2 would be Casino. And number 1 would have to be Goodfellas.
All right,
those would be my top. That would be my top 3.
Great list. Stetzela, let's go to the New Yorker here. What are your top 3 ever mafia movies? Very tough question.
Top 3.
Once again, something that I told you to prep, but obviously isn't ready.
I had to let it marinate.
All right, you don't have to give an order, by the way. Just give your 3. You don't have to give it in any order.
I would probably say, man,
don't forget about it.
Forget about it.
Lefty, the Bertram boat. He's had this Miami all to himself for 50 years. The King's caught.
The one thing they didn't tell you about, Donnie Brasco is what happened to the lion.
It's a good point. How about Richie? He's like, Richie, you ever talk to you like that again? I'll punch you in the face. Don't you ever blink.
You can't talk like that.
Don't you ever
Sonny
blink.
Black is a skipper.
Don't you ever call me Joe
He's
again.
a skipper.
All right, what do you got?
Friend of mine connected.
Well, Dave's favorite scene is when he gives Lefty Al Pacino, Johnny Depp, gives him the cash, and then he takes the cash back. He needs a borrow.
He does.
That is great. I got to take a beaner.
Yeah, come on, Fazoo. Come on, Fazoo.
Or when he's going to give the guy down in Florida that card that he found at the convenience store with the $100 bill, and he throws it. He throws it in the ocean.
Never had anything. 50 years.
Donnie, ask your friend why this place is such a dump.
Donnie,
Right, so
was that
my
Donnie
three-
the Jula?
Oh,
The Jula?
Was that the King's Court?
Yeah, King's Court. All right, Stets, what do you got? Top three.
I would probably say Goodfellas, Godfather 1, Godfather 2.
Not bad at all. I'm going to give you two honorable mentions, Departed and Donnie Brasco. But for me, Godfather, and 1 and 2 is like, I mean, they're all connected, but I'm going to say The Godfather Part 1. And, you know, by the way, The Godfather Part 2 was the first major movie sequel they had ever done at the point, I think it was 72.
And you could argue easily that Godfather 2 is better than Godfather 1.
Absolutely, but I think they're both incredible. And,
It's the parallel lives with De
Niro and
playing
Pacino.
a young. Oh,
Casino and Goodfellas. I think to me, I think it's Goodfellas is my favorite. I mean, those are all amazing movies, but I just think that Goodfellas is so perfectly done. The shot which Martin Scorsese replicated at the beginning of why am I blanking right now? From this year, what's wrong with me? Oscar
Irishman.
Yeah, he replicated that shot. Remember when Ray Liotta takes Lorraine Bracco into the Copacabana or whatever it was called. I think it was called Copacabana. And they do that long, winding one shot. That was all a single shot. And he did that again with De Niro at the beginning of The Irishman. Incredible.
Yes.
All right. Let's
Also, too, like, but you know, we're only talking Italian mob. I mean, you could go into the Irish mafia and talk about Miller's Crossing, which is an amazing movie by the Coen brothers. State of Grace with Ed Harris and Sean Penn is another great Irish mafia movie. So it's not just limited to the Italian mob. There's some other great.
Tremendous.
Miller's Crossing is amazing.
Tremendous mafia movies. All right, let's get to our interesting, wacky, exciting house item of the day. Dave, we'll start with you. The Reeves.
The item that I have today was a gift from my brother Jeff Rieger when he covered a PGA event, and this is it's like a thing you would put like pens, pencils,
Or drink coffee out of it.
I don't think you drink coffee out of it, but
I would.
What I like about it, is that what it says, and I'll see if you can read it. I'll hold it up here for what the PGA stands for.
Ooh,
I think that's pretty cool.
Pride, honor, passion, integrity, sportsmanship. That is fantastic. By the way, Mud says Eastern Promises. That's with Viggo Mortensen. That's another great mafia movie. He says Road to Perdition, Carlito's Way. We forgot Carlito's Way. It's another great movie.
Carlito's Way.
Yeah,
Carlito's Way is very
Penn
good.
As the wacky, crazy Jewish lawyer was fan. Road to Perdition with Tom Hanks. The Thomas Newman soundtrack made me fall in love with Thomas Newman. That movie was incredible. Incredible.
I'm going to give you the McNulty.
What on what? Road to Perdition?
Yeah.
That was a great movie. Stets, you hate everything. All right, Stets, what's your wacky, interesting house item of the day?
Hold on. I take my headphones off to reach my. So you can see behind me. I'm working on it.
I think you look great.
Hold on.
All right, Dave. I think when as Stets walks back, I think Dave, real quick, Stets.
Since we're talking WrestleMania 3.
Yeah, go ahead.
We got Mean Gene Okerlund.
Oh, Mean Gene. So check this out. You know what? I should go.
That's cool.
I'm here with the Macho Man Randy.
I think I've got it. I don't know if it's right in the. I'll save it for next time. I've got. We found when I moved my stuff recently. We found my old wrestling ring with those guys. I've got a Warrior, a Hogan, a Savage, a Big John Studd. I've got all these. That's a great one, Stats. That is fantastic. Mud and others on the chat love it. Mean Gene Okerlund. By the way, he was the best.
I had all the wrestlers when they came out. I had the ring. I had the thumb wrestlers. I still have a few wrestlers I saved. I think I have Macho Man, Big John Studd, Hogan, and a few others.
Dave, when you helped me move so kindly, Dave's the best. Remember we found that wrestling ring? We found my old wrestling ring? All right. Well, here's mine. And I was thinking about Michigan and that, we brought up the topic of the games that people think that they say they went to, they didn't. I've got some classic Michigan pictures. I'm not in this one, but you guys can't see this. My dad and my grandpa went to so many Michigan games for decades together. My Uncle Mark, who's now since passed, my grandpa too. They're wearing the classic hats. My dad looks like he's lost somewhere in space, but it's just this classic Doc. Let me get this on the screen here. Doc Leach, Grandpa Saul, Uncle Mark. Unfortunately, two of those three guys aren't with us anymore. But there's so many just great days at Michigan Stadium. And to see this class, this is probably from like 75, before I was even born. Just so many great memories. I can't, by the way, before we go, one last quick thing, and I want to go around the horn with this. Kirk Herbstreit came out, speaking of football, and thinks that there can't be a season until we have a vaccine or a proven treatment. Dave, do you agree? And do you think we'll have football on time?
I don't know if we will have football on time. Like I said, at one of our earlier shows, that Brian Kelly was on with Scott Van Pelt, and he said that if they don't have anything going by July 1st, it's going to be tough to get the college football season started on time, which then could push back everything. But I hope that we at least have
Stets, do you agree with Herbstreit? And do you think we'll have football on time?
I agree with Herbstreit. I just don't see how we're going to be able to have, when we're continuing to have to stay away from people. We still have to get testing down. We're so far off from just going back to normal lives, let alone playing sports. Because the issue is, even if you're trying to be safe, like, there's so many logistics involved with being at the facility, playing with each other, playing against each other, playing next to each other, around each other, whatever given sport, being in the locker room, traveling, buses, planes, like all these things that, and if someone what happens if somebody tests positive on a team? Then the whole team's going to get shut down.
No, it's a great point, and that's kind of where I'm at. I don't want to say
the game's going to. I think the season's going to be shortened. Yeah, not to cut you off, Leach, but I think we're looking at a 10 to 12 game season, like minimum, and maybe less.
For what?
For football,
the NFL.
I think
they won't. No, they won't shorten the season. They'll just extend it. They will not. They won't shorten.
I think the best.
It'll be a full season.
The best case scenario. 12 games. This is what I think is going to happen, and I do agree with Herbstreit about we probably should do this with fans at least until we have a vaccine or a proven treatment, and it might go away a little bit in the fall and then in the summer and come back. I think the best case scenario is games without fans. Then they'll start college and pro football. If they do, even close to on time. And Dave, like you said, the July 30th thing or whatever, training camp, all that stuff. You got baseball players, give them a month to warm up. I think the best case scenario is if even they come close to starting on time, there will be no fans. But I could see that happen. That being said, I think that right now it's 50-50 at best that football starts anytime on time. Dave, I think college is different. I'm with you on pros. They would extend it to April or May, or if they have to, whatever.
I like what you're forgetting about. You're forgetting about the logistics of the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so they figure it out. Now you have to redo all that stuff with people who've already paid for tickets, already paid for hotels.
Plenty of time to switch the day.
You guys are wrong.
I like what Ken Cal said. He said we could see a Super Bowl in April.
Yeah, I agree.
And how would you like to see Super Bowl Sunday at the same as the Masters? That would be pretty.
We're gonna have such this sports cornucopia. It's
one's a sport, one's not.
Stop it! You're an idiot. All right. Before we go, parting shots. Starting with Michael Stetsela.
Make sure you stay safe. Do your part. You saw Governor Whitmer today had the doing my part hashtag for Michigan.
Yes.
And make sure you watch Ozark season 3.
Yes, and
one of the best shows on Netflix. No one talks about coming out tomorrow. Season 4, Money Heist.
Ooh, I haven't seen Money Heist. Who's in that?
It's a Spanish show. It's amazing. It's the most popular Netflix show, non-U.S. show.
By the way, just in case people didn't know, her name is Gretchen Whitmer. Read Mitch Albom's piece in the Detroit Free Press. It was fantastic. Dave, Flacco Stan, Laka Stan, Birthday Boy Rieger, and Stets is doing his Hogan backwards and forwards. Dave, what are your parting shots?
I will say I would have appreciated a little, NWO for Hogan to maybe end the show with the.
This is classic.
But I will say the way I always end the shows, everybody stay safe, follow the instructions so we can get back to normal as soon as we can. But I will say in the immortal words of Coach Eric Taylor, Friday Night Lights, clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
Love it. And I want to say how much you two mean to me. A lot of people have reached out to me personally in our business over the weekend, and I told them about what we're doing here, and they just think that these kind of things are important right now. It's an outlet for us. We love to entertain. We want to, connect with each other out there, whether it's the three of us or whoever's watching, Marty, Glenn, and everyone else that's tuning in or watching these shows. I'm not on air right now. A lot of the 97.1 hosts have got a lot of shifts cut. So this means a lot for us to bring this to you. But it just goes back to what we've been saying since we started the show. We've got to be there for each other. We have to understand that people are lonely, social recession. We have to be safe. We've got to wash our hands. And we've got to come from a place of love, not hate. I know it's divisive.
We have to get Leach off Twitter tweeting 60 times
Sometimes.
a day, too.
It's not Republican or Democrat. It's not, Chinese or American. It's life or death, and it's love. Love always. And are you looking at the 24-inch pythons? Eat your vitamins. Say your prayers. And believe in the dream. Dave, happy birthday. We're very, very lucky to have you in our lives. So is everyone else. Your brother, your mother, Cloud Prince, Ayla, Olive. Love you to many, many more. Stets, you know how much I am grateful for you in my life as well.
You complete me, Leach.
Until next time, it's Matt Derry, by the way, our friend Matt Derry, loves the Task Force Day, loves the idea. Love to all.
Thanks to the Diesel.
By the way, tomorrow night, it'll be a solo, because we'll be there in spirit, but Andrew Rossi, the director of the brand new After Truth documentary on the rise and dangers of fake news, and his producer, 7:30, I believe we're going. He'll be on with us tomorrow night on a special edition of the Task Force. We'll be back soon. Until next time, love to all of you guys. Leach, Rieger, Stets, out. Believe in the dream.
Peace.